In this episode of the Noble Truth Podcast, we take a bold journey into the heart of Buddhism, beyond religious dogma, beyond blind faith, and into the realm of radical awakening. Discover why the Buddha rejected belief in God, heaven, and the soul, not out of cynicism, but out of deep compassion for human suffering. This isn't just philosophy, it's a call to wake up. Part 1. Why belief is not the way. You don't need to believe in truth. You just need to see it. The Buddha. What if everything you've been told about religion was wrong? What if the path to peace didn't require belief, but the courage to let go of it? Welcome to the Noble Truth Podcast, where we explore timeless wisdom for modern minds. Today's episode asks one of the boldest questions ever posed. Why did the Buddha reject God, heaven, and even the soul? In a world starving for certainty, the Buddha offered something even more valuable: clarity. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The religion with no religion. Buddhism is often called the religion of no religion. But what does that really mean? It means Buddhism is not built upon dogma. It has no supreme deity to worship, no divine commandments to obey, no eternal soul to cling to. In fact, the Buddha himself never called his path a religion. He called it a way, a path of direct seeing, of living with awareness, and of awakening to truth beyond belief. Most religions start with belief. Buddhism starts with questioning. Chapter 2. Why God was never the answer. Throughout history, humans have invented gods for one overwhelming reason: fear. Fear of the unknown. Fear of suffering. Fear of death. We tell ourselves, there must be someone in control, someone watching over us, a creator who knows why we are here. That belief offers comfort. It gives the illusion of safety. It replaces the chaos of reality with a story of meaning. But the Buddha shattered that illusion. He said, you believe in God not because God exists, but because you are afraid without that belief. And here's the truth that stings. Even if God did not exist, we would invent one, because we are terrified to admit we don't know. Chapter 3. The trap of projection. Imagine this. You're on an airplane. Suddenly someone announces, there's no pilot. Panic sets in. People scream. Despair erupts. And then someone says, don't worry, the plane is flying perfectly. That means there must be a pilot, even if we can't see him. It's comforting. But is it true? That's what belief in God is, a psychological projection, a comforting story to cope with uncertainty. The Buddha said that depending on belief in this way is like living in a beautiful lie. It feels peaceful, but it's built on illusion. And he warned, even if the truth is bitter, choose it. Even if it destroys your ego, accept it, because only truth can set you free. Chapter 4. The courage to see clearly. The Buddha didn't offer consolation. He offered liberation. He didn't say, trust me, believe this. He said, come and see for yourself. He urged us, be more aware, be more awake, be more courageous. He taught that all belief systems, whether religious or atheistic, are traps. Even the belief in no God is just another belief. He once said that denying God without inner clarity is like a mosquito biting the foot of an elephant. It might feel like rebellion, but it still doesn't wake you up. Chapter 5. The endless cycle of meaning-making. If not God, then what? Humans always replace one belief with another. If God is gone, then history becomes our God, or science, or psychology, or the economy. Freud replaced God with the unconscious. Darwin replaced God with natural selection. Marx replaced God with historical inevitability. Even these so-called modern thinkers created new myths, new projections, new idols to worship. The Buddha saw through them all. He didn't replace belief with another belief. He replaced it with direct seeing. He didn't give us answers. He gave us a path to awaken, to observe, to know for ourselves. Part 2. The myth of heaven and the nature of desire. Chapter 6. the fantasy called heaven. Why do so many religions speak of paradise? Golden cities, endless joy, eternal peace. Because we suffer. And instead of confronting suffering, we escape it by imagining a better world that comes after. But the Buddha saw through that illusion. He said, heaven is just your unfulfilled desires projected into the afterlife. Let that sink in. He wasn't saying there's no joy. He was saying, joy cannot be manufactured through fantasy. Heaven, as imagined by most religions, is nothing but a mirror of what we think we're missing here. Endless pleasure, endless love, endless certainty. But all of it is built on one shaky foundation. Desire. Chapter 7. Desire. The unseen dictator. The Buddha taught, desire is the cause of suffering. But desire is not evil. It's not sin. It's simply misunderstood. Because desire always promises fulfillment, but never delivers it. It's like a mirage in the desert. No matter how close you get, it moves farther ahead. When you earn your first $1,000, you want 5. When you have 5, you want 10. Then 20, then status, then recognition. And the worst part? Even if you get what you desire, you still don't feel whole. You just desire something else. That is the cycle of dukkha, the endless thirst for something more. Chapter 8. The Kalpavriksha Delusion. In ancient India, people believed in a wish-fulfilling tree, Kalpavriksha. Sit beneath it, and anything you desire appears. But the Buddha laughed at this idea, because even if your every wish were granted instantly, you would still not be content. Why? Because desire is not just a craving, it's a habit. You get what you want, and you want more. You eat your dream meal, and hunger returns. You fall in love, and soon you feel empty again. So we create myths about gods, about heavens, about future rewards, anything to escape the reality that desire can never be satisfied. Chapter 9. The Trick of the Afterlife. Why do religions postpone satisfaction to the next life? Because they know they can't give it to you now. No one dares say, God will fulfill your dreams today. That would expose the myth. So they say, just pray, obey, wait. Heaven is coming. Later. It's a clever trick. You can't prove them wrong, because you have to die to find out. The Buddha called this spiritual consumerism. He said, desire disguised as religion is still desire. Even when you fast, meditate, chant, or sacrifice, not for liberation but for reward, you are caught in the same trap. Chapter 10. Materialists in disguise. You might think, but those who renounce the world, aren't they selfless? Not always. Many so-called spiritual seekers are still full of desire, just projected further into the future. They don't want money today. They want heaven tomorrow. They don't want comfort now. They want eternal bliss later. Same desire, different timeline. The Buddha saw this clearly. He said, even ascetics who torture their bodies still serve the same master, craving. Chapter 11. The real heaven is here and now. The Buddha wasn't against bliss. He wasn't anti-joy. He simply knew that true peace comes only when desire ends, not when it is fulfilled. Heaven is not a reward. It's a natural state that arises when your mind is no longer chasing something it doesn't have. It cannot be found in fantasies of the future. It's revealed only in the present, right here, right now, without craving, without fear. Chapter 12. The end of desire is the beginning of freedom. So what is the path? Not to suppress desire, not to fight it with guilt, but to see it, to observe how it moves, how it promises, how it never delivers. And in that awareness, something changes. When you realize that desire will never be satisfied, it begins to lose power over you. This is not resignation. It is liberation. You are not giving up life. You are finally free to live it. And that is the real gift of the Buddha's teaching. Part 3, no soul, no self, no separation. Chapter 13, the shocking truth. There is no self. Imagine hearing this for the first time. There is no soul, no fixed identity, no eternal self. For most people, it's terrifying. We're okay letting go of God. We can even question heaven. But the idea that I do not exist, that's deeply unsettling. But that's exactly what the Buddha taught. There is no soul. There is no separate self. You exist, but you are not separate from the universe. This wasn't a denial of life. It was a revelation of how profoundly connected all life is. Chapter 14, The Ocean of Consciousness. The Buddha described existence like an ocean. We appear to be separate, like waves on the surface. But beneath the movement, we are one. The sense of being you and me comes from our bodies and minds. But that's just surface tension. At the deepest level, there is no boundary between you and the world. There is only consciousness, flowing and vast. The ego says, this is mine, that is yours. But awareness says, this is all one. Chapter 15, The Illusion of Borders. Look at a map. You'll see countries, America, China, India. But if you fly over the earth, there are no lines. The divisions are man-made. They exist only in the mind. The same is true with the self. We draw borders around our identity. This is me, that is not me. But at the level of reality, there are no such lines. There is only life itself unfolding. Chapter 16, How the Mind Creates Me. Where does the self come from? From identification with your body, your thoughts, your emotions. When you say, I am angry, or I am smart, or I am spiritual, you are not describing reality. You are describing a story your mind has created, a story that feels real because you repeat it, you feed it, you defend it, but look closely and it disappears. There is no fixed I behind your thoughts. There is only thinking. There is no permanent you behind your feelings. There is only feeling, just like clouds passing through the sky. Chapter 17, The Ego's Disguise. Even in spirituality, the ego hides. You meditate to become enlightened. You help others to be a good person. You sacrifice to earn merit. But if these actions are driven by the desire for reward, the ego is still in charge. The Buddha said, even the desire for liberation can become a trap. That's why he taught letting go, not just of bad habits, but of the self who wants to be free. Freedom is not achieved. It's what remains when the one who seeks it is gone. Chapter 18, The Power of No Identity. What happens when the self dissolves? You don't vanish. You awaken. You stop clinging. You stop reacting. You stop needing things to go your way. You become spacious, light, fluid, present. And in that presence, there is a joy that's not dependent on anything. This is not philosophy. It's liberation experienced directly. And the doorway to that liberation is to see that what you call self is just a shadow. When the shadow fades, the light shines through. Part 4, Truth Without Belief. Why the Buddha Rejected Metaphysics. Chapter 19, The Silence of the Buddha. A man once asked the Buddha, does the universe have a beginning? The Buddha said nothing. Another asked, does the soul live on after death? Still silence. The man pressed him. Why won't you answer? The Buddha replied, because it does not lead to awakening. To most people, this sounded like evasion, but it was the deepest kind of clarity. The Buddha wasn't being vague. He was being precise. Chapter 20. The point is liberation, not explanation. Other religions offered answers. The Buddha offered freedom. While philosophers debated the origin of the cosmos, he asked, are you free from suffering? Right now? That was the real question. Everything else was a distraction. He called it the thicket of views, getting lost in theories, opinions, and beliefs that have nothing to do with ending suffering. He taught, suppose a man is shot with an arrow. Should he demand to know who shot it, what kind of wood it's made of, and why it was fired? Or should he pull it out? That is the Dhamma. It's not meant to impress you. It's meant to save you. Chapter 21. The Dhamma is a tool, not a doctrine. The Buddha compared his teachings to a raft used to cross a river. Once you reach the other shore, you don't carry the raft on your back. you leave it behind. He warned, do not cling to my words. Use them to awaken. So the Dhamma is not a belief system. It's a tool for transformation. Like medicine, it only matters if it works, not what theory it comes from. And just like medicine, it's not sweet, it's bitter, but it heals. Chapter 22. Belief is a wall, not a bridge. Why was the Buddha so cautious about belief? Because belief creates walls. Walls between religions. Walls within yourself. Walls between you and truth. Belief says, this is how it is. I know. But awakening begins when you say, I don't know. Let me look. The Buddha taught investigation, not obedience. He didn't say, worship me. He said, ehipassiko. Come and see for yourself. Chapter 23. The courage to let go of answers. We crave answers because we fear the unknown. We want the universe to fit into a box. We want neat categories. We want a story that makes it all make sense. But the Buddha said, reality is beyond stories. When you stop needing answers, you start seeing truth. Truth that doesn't need belief, doesn't need words, doesn't need defense. Just like the sun doesn't need you to believe in it to shine. Chapter 24. The invitation of the Buddha. The Buddha's way is not about following. It's about seeing. It's not about comfort. It's about clarity. He didn't leave behind commandments. He left behind a method. To observe, to question, to investigate, to let go. Because the truth is not something you acquire. It's something you uncover, once you remove everything that isn't real. And that's the power of the Noble Truth. Part 5. Beyond Belief, the Truth That Needs No Name. Chapter 25. The End of Religion. What if Buddhism was never meant to be a religion? No rituals, no robes, no gods, no dogma, just one thing. See clearly. The Buddha didn't try to convert anyone. He didn't offer a new system to replace the old. He offered a mirror. And in that mirror, you don't find a God. You don't find a soul. You find your own clinging, your own fear, your own stories. And beyond them all, you find peace. Chapter 26. The path is personal. The Dhamma is not a highway. It's a quiet trail that runs through your own life. It begins not in books or temples, but in your own suffering. And the question is simple. Do you want to be free? If yes, the Buddha says, good. Now, let go. Let go of belief. Let go of control. Let go of trying to become anything. And when there is nothing left to hold, what remains is freedom. Chapter 27. You don't need to believe. You need to see. So let's come back to where we started. Buddhism is not about believing in the Buddha. It's about seeing as the Buddha saw. Not clinging to truth, but being transformed by it. Not praying for peace, but becoming still enough to notice it's already here. The Buddha said, be a light unto yourself. No savior is coming. No heaven is waiting. No self to be saved. There is only this breath, this moment, this awareness, and it is enough. If this message has stirred something in you, pause, let it settle, let it challenge you. Because this is not the end of a video. It's the beginning of your own path. And the only question that matters now is this. Are you willing to see? Thank you for listening to the Noble Truth Podcast. May your path be clear. May your mind be steady. May your heart be free.